Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I rise in strong support of this legislation, and I want to praise the process by which we arrived at this. This is probably the hardest working subcommittee on a very hard working Appropriations Committee. 22 separate hearings. I think even the minority that disagrees with some of the decisions were made would agree that they were made fairly, openly, transparently, and by votes, and the American people can look at what we did. Usually when you come to this floor, you come to debate and to disagree, and we're certainly going to have a great deal of that over the course of the next several days as we work through the main legislation and the many amendments which undoubtedly will be offered. But I want to focus today on an area of bipartisan agreement, and that's the decisions that were made regarding funding in Indian country and Native American programs. Mr. Speaker, our chairman generously mentioned and appropriately mentioned the hard work that Mr. Moran and Mr. Dix did in setting the foundation for the progress that's being built upon this year. What he was too modest about was his own role, first as a ranking member and then as the chairman, and also seeing that an appropriate focus was placed upon Indian country. And frankly, while I disagree with the administration in many places, I want to thank them as well, because in many cases they had great suggestions. They certainly put forward serious proposals, and they've been very easy to work with in Native American issues. So there's a lot of praise here to go around. Most importantly, I think from an appropriation standpoint, the numbers speak for themselves. Bureau of Indian Affairs funding was cut, but actually cut less than the President requested. The Indian Health Service got a 9% increase, almost $400 million. And you can run through the program. IHS staffing for new facilities, $63 million, fully funded at the President's request. Road maintenance, $25 million, funded at the President's request. Indian Guaranteed Loan Program, something to help tribes as they move into private industries, actually funded above the President's request. Contract support costs, fully funded, $228 million. Indian Health Service, fully funded, $574 million.
Gentleman is recognized for additional 1 minute.
Thank you very much, and I thank the gentleman. Contract support costs, again, fully funded or funded at very near what the President requested. And most importantly, language put in to make sure that those contracts are actually fully funded by the BIA, something that has not always happened in the past. Again, important language on joint ventures, whereby we encourage tribes to take some of their revenue, work with the federal government, reinvest in health care facilities, other needed infrastructure improvements in Indian country. I say all this just to point out that while we have serious disagreements and serious debates, and while we made very hard decisions, because overall funding in this bill is, as Chairman Simpson suggested, down 7% from last year and certainly well below the requests that the President made, in this area, defending one of the most challenged populations in the country, Republicans and Democrats alike can be exceptionally proud of what was done and the priorities where we put, again, the most challenged people that we deal with on that committee in the most favored position. That hasn't always happened. I want to thank my friend Chairman Simpson for making sure it happened, my friend Mr. Moran and Mr. Dix for doing the same. I yield back.